Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. This week is busy. So, being in line with the idea of being honest and people making mistakes, I need to admit that I've made a mistake. So, yesterday, talking about expressing yourself wrong, I made some statements that, in looking back, I should have chosen better words. For example, saying that people I thought were lesser for the way they're judging other people. What I really mean is the quality of character choices that people have made. I'm not talking about their value as a human being, because all life is worth the same. What I'm talking about is you have questionable character if you're going to judge other people as though you have never made a mistake. That's what I was referring to. So, for anyone offended by my statement of saying you're a lesser person, I'm talking about the quality of your character for judging other people when you are not perfect. None of us are perfect, but we do have the ability to realize that we are all different and not judge others for any aspect of their gender, ethnicity, or social class. And that is where I think a lack of character exists within certain people by judging others. And I'm judging by saying that, but I'm talking about respecting other people and not deciding to put your standards on them. Allowing people to live as who they are without expecting that they need to be penalized for being who they are. So, there's that. I'm going to try and stay off of too much politics today. I'm not ashamed of my perspective. I think I could have chosen better words, though. So how are you doing otherwise? How's the shade loss challenge going for you? A lot of people committed to it. Well, I would say there's a good dozen people I've seen that have been very committed to it. And that's very impressive to me. How did you feel about seeing Shay and Logan yesterday doing their second shirtless video? I've had success with aspects of my workout, but I'm not going to show those until closer to the end of the 5 weeks, because I have a goal in mind. Well, maybe I'll show something next week. Maybe I will next Monday. Let's see. No, not next Monday because of scheduling conflicts, but on the 3-week mark, week 3. Wait, the next week is the week 3, isn't it? On the 4-week mark, when we hit the, let's see, first week, So when we hit the beginning of the 4th week, I'll be showing my progress. And it's just because I don't think a week is enough to see inspired progress for me. It doesn't mean it's the same way for everyone, because everyone is different. Getting back into that discussion again. For me, I feel like if I show you where I'm at week 4 with my workout efforts and my goal of fitting into those pants I was talking about, that it will show something that I feel like I'm proud of showing. So that's what we're going to work by. And I am going to try and keep this to around 15 minutes today. I promise. I have noticed that in the last couple of days, my vids have been over 20 minutes. Hopefully, if you're following these vids, you're not paying attention to the time, and you're engaged in the conversation or the banter that I'm putting out, and you're either talking back to me or you're determining what your views are on the world, and then you can share them with me. I don't want to believe I think I have the perfect perspective, but I do believe I have a balanced perspective. Once again, this is my perspective. I could be wrong. You tell me. Seems warm today. Well, duh. It's like 94 degrees. Man, I'm really shocked at the weather they've been having in California. They've been having 90+ degree weather in LA. Almost 100-degree weather. And LA is one of those cities that stays pretty consistent on its weather. In the 70s and at worst early 80s, but they're getting in the 90s? Jeez. And Bend, Oregon, or somewhere where my buddy Tori lives, they're getting in the 90s. It's just shocking. I had this discussion with one of the guys who works for me with me, Roy, because we had a pretty cold winter by most standards in Texas, and a lot of cold fronts throughout the world at unexpected times when we were supposed to be hitting spring, and now we're having unusually hot summers, and we're still in the beginning stages of it. So we were talking about global warming and the whole concept. And that's such a debatable issue, really it is. I'm sure I have no question that the emissions we're putting into the air from plants are causing damage to the ozone, and they're not natural damage, if that makes any sense. It's not what would happen if we didn't have technology. Technology and the progression of technology and the devices we use and the method of how we burn things, all of it contributes to the atmosphere. And it's not the same way it was 200 years ago because we didn't have that kind of technology. So I'm sure we're making an impact on it. But the durability of the environment, I'm not entirely sure. Personally, I'm not sure how it stands because, like I said, we've had an unusually cold winter, and it's lasted longer. And even for Texas, it was sort of unusually cold. And then there were ice storms that hit the Northeast that they didn't expect at that time of the year. So, global warming is an interesting conversation. And unfortunately, it gets back into politics again, where politicians are arguing back and forth. This causes global warming, this doesn't cause global warming. Let's put it as simply as we can. we're doing stuff in modern society. We are contributing to the damage of the ozone. Now, how severe and long-term those damages are, I'm not the person to judge. I don't have that kind of degree, but logic suggests that if we continue doing the same things we're doing, that it will not recover. It may adapt, but it will surely not recover from the kind of things we're putting in the air. I know my air conditioner doesn't seem to be holding up against the heat very well. I have to run my ceiling fans a lot. So do you have plans for the 4th of July? What are you going to do? I'm probably going to eat barbecue. I probably am. As a matter of fact, Roy's church, the gentleman I was just sort of referring to, his church is doing a fundraiser with brisket. And I am buying half a brisket. I'm not going to eat it all at once. It's not the way it works. I'm going to keep it in the freezer, thaw it out, eat a little bit at a time. I wish I was going to have it before I left. I'd take it with me to see my family, but I'm not, so he's going to put it in his freezer and keep it for me until I return. So I'm sure I'll be eating barbecue over the course of the next couple of weeks. But that's okay. Once again, you can't deprive yourself when it comes to food. I think if you deprive yourself and say, I'm not going to eat anything else that's nasty. I'm not going to eat cupcakes. I'm not going to drink sodas. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that when it comes to food that's not necessarily great for you. You can tell yourself that. But it's just like cigarettes. Most people do not stop successfully cold turkey on anything. And if you do stop cold turkey, you may endure it for a while, but you haven't slowly withdrawn from it. So as a result, the craving is probably still fairly strong in your subconscious. What you want to do, slowly wean yourself off of something, or just balance it out in your lifestyle. Now, of course, cigarette smoking, for example, is not great for your body in any kind of capacity. But look at people who use nicotine gum and the, I guess, herbal cigarettes, and even the, I guess it's called like a mechanical cigarette or something. It doesn't have all the ash and such in it that gets into your lungs. Or the smokeless cigarette, I think that's what it's called. But anyway, you know what I mean? It's just, they're all approaches to weaning you off cigarettes. And that's probably more effective, believe it or not, than just stopping cold turkey. Just like with some of the people I've been watching with shea loss. They talk about how, I'm cutting this off, and then they go back to the bakery or the grocery store, and they see things that they enjoy, and they're like, I broke down and I had to get this. See, there's nothing wrong, I don't think, with getting the things you enjoy, the sweets or whatever. I think what you have to do is balance it out in order to not overeat it. You know, buy watermelon, buy fruit, buy vegetables. Drink more juices that are natural, fresh juices, specifically if you can, so you can get the nutrients. Make soups with the fiber, like I sort of mentioned in some of my videos. But don't overdo it to a point where you're like, I can never have cupcakes again. I think if you do that to yourself, you're setting yourself up for failure. Now, some people will be able to make the 180 change and endure it for the rest of their lives. Some people will. I personally would not. I choose not to. See, I choose not to say I'm going to go one extreme over the other. Because they are extremes. Balance it in your life. Really, balance it in your life. There's nothing wrong with having chocolate chip cookies once in a while, or in your diet, spaced out properly. There's nothing wrong with it. You just have to remember that the key to fitness or nutrition is eating things that are nourishing to your system as well. Put those things into your body and try and have a larger balance of that, or more of that, like a 60-40, 70-30 balance to the junk food. And always try and exert more calories than you take in. Now, something that I don't think has been mentioned really is you're always burning calories, okay? I think the average person burns, I think it's 1,500 calories a day in general. But if you don't exercise and you take in 2,000 calories, then obviously those 500 calories have to go somewhere and it's stored as fat. And over a week, if you do that, you've gained a pound, and then another pound the next week, and it continues to compound. So if you eat 2,000 calories a day and you burn 1,500, then try and get out and do some effort that will help you to, at the very least, balance out what you do, which means 500 calories. Now that's 500. That's 500. That's 500 calories, which is basically about 1/7 of a pound. So burning 500 calories in a day is different for everybody, depending on the shape of your body. But the key is, if you want to maintain your weight, then try and balance out that 2,000 calories with about 500 calories worth of effort daily to just stay balanced. If you want to lose weight, lower your calorie intake, increase your motion, and that's how you start burning more calories. And believe it or not, calories add up quickly when you're burning 3,500 calories in a pound, by the way, is the statistic. So anyway, I better go, to promise and keeping my vid shorter today. Hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself. Live with passion. Live with passion. Live with passion. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.